Welcome, everybody. My name is Jake Marsh with the Wealthy Builder Podcast. Today, we're here with Thornapple Construction. We have Nate and Austin as our guests. Really excited to dig into their business a little bit, things that have helped them be successful, what they do to serve their clients really well. So hopefully everyone's able to learn and take away some actionable items to put into place in their business. Nate, Austin, welcome, guys.
Hey, Jake. Great to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So would love to maybe just have you guys start with kind of open up with, well, who is Thornapple? I think that kind of consists of two things, right? Like maybe where you guys have come from and, kind of your vision, how you guys operate.
Yeah, we do all residential remodel. We're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We operate on a subcontractor model. Who are we?
I think a couple of guys trying to change the world. It's a little silly and idealistic and kind of pie in the sky cliche, but yeah, I mean, we care enough to die for something, I guess, and this is what we've chosen to die for, basically. And like, I guess this is the one thing we're willing to suffer for, right? And we love remodeling. Honestly, love our clients and empowering the people.
And you've been doing this for a long time, right? I mean, you guys have been in this for since diapers, right?
Yeah, I basically grew up on a job site. My dad's a builder, still is in the trades, and so uncle, grandpa, it's a whole, there's no escaping it for me, whether I like it or not. I'm a contractor.
Yeah, I started.
And Nate, you've got a pretty long history.
Yeah, I started in my 20s. So Austin and I met in 2018 and joined forces. And I had been doing it for a few years before that in different capacities.
Okay. Beautiful. And worked the entire city of Grand Rapids, right? As you guys aren't limited to a certain area, pretty much serve the market. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about you guys is kind of how you approach your client engagements, right? Maybe talk us through how you approach working with a client and kind of the overview of your process. I think the sales cycle is a big differentiator. Your design process, I think a lot of things in there are a little bit unique. So maybe kind of talk us through how you guys handle that engagement with your clients.
Yeah. So first off, we everybody that we deal with, we aim to serve. Most people that we talk to, we don't end up working with. They're not our client. There's just more that we don't than we do. But our goal either way is to serve them. So we, whether that's referring people to somebody who can really help them and serve them best, or giving them better information about their project. A lot of times people are trying to work things out. They don't know exactly what they need. What else?
Yeah, I mean, no builder is asking those kinds of questions. I mean, anybody that's answering the phone is just trying to get to the sale kind of thing, or just get to the end of the call, or get to the no. So it's definitely weird that our approach starts with like, we're giving you the time of day, like genuinely, because we care about the outcome, whether it serves us or not. And so once we've chosen that, I think that just allows our brain to have a different approach. It's not like we're just way more righteous or way more benevolent than the next builder. It's like, no, we just choose to spend the cost of, we talk and we serve to everybody, even if it's not our client. And what usually happens is it makes getting to the no a lot more efficient for both parties. Like, I just finished a call yesterday and the guy's like, I just really appreciate your time because it really helped me work through all this. And yeah, I mean, just in this one call, we've gone and decided that we're not going to do the project at all. And it's like, great. Like, I wanted you to get to that point because that's where you needed to be in the first place. And if I can help you do that in 15 minutes on a call versus you having to get quotes after quotes and, everybody's doing their song and dance and trying to convince you and sell you and show you and whatever. Right? Yeah. So, I mean, I think honestly, just helping people take their next step in their journey of hiring someone for whatever, whether it be a project or, I think we take a very more holistic approach to serving. It's It's not just serving in the ways that this is the food that I have in my pocket that I can give you. It's more of, how can I help you? I may be a guy that's a contractor, but like I don't have a hammer with me, but I carry a screwdriver and I'll like adjust your doorknob when I'm at your house. Like it's just a weird, holistic approach to serving, I think, is kind of the first way how we treat people, right?
Alex Hermosi, I'm not sure if you guys watch any Alex Hermosi,
Love
but
him.
I love a couple of his things that he talks about. And one that really registered just now, and that's the first time I've thought of it, is my job isn't to sell you. My job is to help you make a decision, right? One way or the other. Let's get you the information. Let's ask you the questions so that you can make a decision that's good for you. Not trying to talk someone into something, right? Which is what you were getting at. A lot of people are there for the sale, right? Like, hey, let's get you started with your remodel project. So,
yeah, or they're rushing you to the no, and that's annoying too.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, then maybe what other steps in your process as you work with clients are unique or different? I mean, I know your design process is a little different. I think you spend a lot of time there. You have a lot of different things that I think you kind of approach a little differently. So maybe kind of talk us through anything else in your kind of overall process with clients that's different.
Yeah, so once we do make that connection where, we might work well together, when we determine that, we tend to spend a whole lot of time up front, before we get to a contract, before we get to breaking ground. We put a lot of time and effort into that part, into the design, into the figuring out what the project even is, what's the scope, what's the budget, all of those things. We put a lot into that.
Yeah, I mean, just to get a scope, which is the exact project on paper, sometimes takes, many months, depending on if the budget is flexible and we're trying to determine what the priorities are and what's feasible, and we're having to do some discovery into the actual job, and let alone, someone's expectations, if they don't have those completely, built out already. It's quite the journey that I think we've committed to take with people that is much different than at least what I've experienced. I mean, my dad did a lot of new construction, and it's very much a factory approach to things. Here's what we got. It's going to be gone in 28 days. Pull the trigger or not, sight unseen. It's a a threeplex villa. It's the left side layout. Here's an email of an example of a left side ish, and it's like you've never even seen what this one specifically looks like, and you're just like, okay, I need a place, So ours is like the exact opposite, where I mean, sometimes it's painful for us, and it's much more costly. Like, we can make more money if we just shove people through some sort of assembly line, but I think just stopping to ask them and giving them the controls for the most part, and then just leading without controlling is really difficult. And we've, that's kind of what we're trying to develop even still, is how to lead from a servant mindset rather than a convincing, manipulating, selling kind of thing. But yeah, I think the next step would be asking all the questions, getting to the bottom of it, and really finding out what are the problems someone's trying to solve. So like the first part is like, we're just here to serve, and if you ask me for a cup of coffee, like I can bring you one kind of thing. But then it's, once we get into it, it's like, okay, now what do you really want to do? Not just the project, but like, what are you trying to accomplish? You need a new nursery. Okay, well, we might be able to do that in the basement instead, and it's a lot cheaper than an addition, for example. It's just doesn't have to be what they tell me. It's like an
so they don't know what they want sometimes.
Oh, and I don't even know sometimes what we can do. Like I'm learning from them. Like, I think we should do an addition, and then they keep talking, and I have all this work into an addition, and they're like, well, have you seen my basement? And I'm like, guess I gotta change. Addition makes me more money. It's like we don't think like that, and so we're just trying to. The first step is serve them, and then the second step is ask and like listen and find out what's going on and really be curious. Is that definitely makes us set apart. I have every client that I have that I'm like, why did you choose us? I'm so curious of that all the time, and people are like, well, you're the only person that actually listened to me, and I'm like, Well, first of all, it doesn't make me feel good about the industry as a whole. Like that burden, that saddens me to hear. Like, I don't even want to know how other people were treating you because I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of talk more than I listen anyways as a person. Like, oh, I'm the best listener you've had? Like, oof.
But your questions, though, are meant...
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nate. Yeah.
Go ahead. You're good.
Well, your questions are meant to guide. That was the key word you said earlier, right? I mean,
For sure.
usually a lot of times people are selling and pushing, and yours
Mm-hmm.
is understanding and guiding them through discovery process, really, because they don't often, like you said, they don't often know exactly what they want, or they might think they do. The other thing you guys turned me on to, great book, by the way, is Unreasonable Hospitality. So thank you for that gift. I still have it on my bookshelf, read it a couple times now. So I love to hear maybe how that plays into your approach to working with clientele, because hospitality is usually associated with, I mean, restaurants or kind of a little bit, not necessarily construction, I guess is what I would say, right? So love to hear how you guys kind of correlate that to your business and how that applies.
Yeah, this is our number one core value. I think this was Austin was like, this is our number one core value. Everything else we can figure out, but this one is number one. We're doing this. So I know you probably have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a very simple concept that it applies, and we all know it well, I think, and we even expect it when it comes to certain industries like a hotel or a restaurant or whatever. And I think that it's funny because when we go to a restaurant, we're like hardcore judging the person. Like, they didn't fill my water quick enough, because my standard is that my water is always full. And if it's not full, then that stands out. So like, we all have this bar set super high. So our expectations are to the roof. But when it comes to remodeling, people just, I guess they're conditioned to expect way less, and they just don't think that can happen. And then builders are conditioned to cut every possible cost that they can for the client, thinking that they're serving them by making things just a little lower number, and then pretending that it's the same service. And I think that, like, why would we have it as a core value? Because it's not the default. So like, for us, we use a core value to be, these are the things that if left to our own human nature, devices, programming, circumstances, these don't happen, and people don't do these well. And like, when you meet people who are exceptional, like, what is that X factor? Our core values are trying to like say, this is the X factor of a person. So when we're meeting someone for an interview, it's like, do they care about other people like they're a guest in this person's home? So, I mean, for us, it's doing a remodel is so invasive, and unfortunately, the reality is the person who owns the home becomes a guest in their own home. It's now our job site, and then they're a guest in their own home. And I think that if that dynamic is not A, recognized, B, quantified, and C, like, invested in, and then you got to like double down on that. Like, okay, I'm not going to pretend that you're not a guest. I'm not going to come in and act like I'm a guest, and I'm going to use your bathroom and ask you to use your towels, and like, oh, but also I'm going to put a hole in your wall real quick. It's like, no. This is a job site. I have insurance. We have to do things a certain way. And I have all these standards of practice, but it's like standards of care, like medical industry. And then the person can then have, their side of things. But
yeah, at the front end of projects, almost nobody thinks this is going to be a problem. Think, oh yeah, it's a remodel. I know it's going to be loud and messy. But what almost always happens is, you don't consider that this is your home, this is your kitchen, this is your daily habits, the things you're doing every day are going to be disrupted for sometimes months at a time. So it really can mess with you. So I think that is our responsibility to know that and to respond to that before it happens, not necessarily just tell people this is going to be bad for you and they're going to say, oh yeah, I know, I'm fine. No, we know what's really going to happen. and we're going to do things to make that better. So that's where the hospitality comes in. Is we can't fix all of that. We're not going to make that not a thing, but there are things we can do to make them feel like it is their home and it is being cared for. And
Yeah, I mean, the fundamental concept with being outside of your shell is just like when you are a guest in someone else, you know, when you visit someone else's house, you don't have your toothpaste, your bed, your blankets, you know, all of your clothes. You don't have a change of clothes. You don't have something to clean your shoes. It's like when you're a guest in someone's home, you are extremely exposed and vulnerable. And then like you are requiring that the other person, the host, takes care of all of those things for you, and they give you a blanket and a thing. And I think people assume that the client's just going to do all that for themselves. And I think anytime a contractor kind of is able to build that relationship on the other side of that wall of like, we will come into your home, into your most intimate abode, and not only make a mess, but like clean it up and then make sure that you know what's going on. And we take care of your, you know, we give you a hot plate and set up your microwave and get your fridge relocated and make sure that your oven is covered so that when you get back, it's not like you have to start by cleaning, you know? So I think, and providing for those inconveniences that people are all gung ho and they just, oh no, don't worry about it. Right. So why core value means nobody gets to not worry about it. So, and yeah.
It's amazing what planning and understanding will do, right? People respond completely differently once they know it's expected, you know, and so if they know it's coming, if they understand the process, completely changes the experience, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, good. Maybe along the same lines, you know, one of the terms that I love that you guys use is ruthless efficiency. So that's another one that one of your guys' kind of coin phrases that I love about what you do. Anything you can share on how you approach your jobs with ruthless efficiency?
Yeah, I mean, all of the examples that immediately come to mind to me are just in how we operate as a company. You know, we have a limited number of people. Like Austin is, I've never seen anybody better at talking to a homeowner and figuring out what's in their head, bringing it into reality, matching that to what can exist, and then matching that to a budget and coming out the other end with something that actually makes sense. So when I, you know, go in the office and I hear or see Austin has to spend 3 hours doing this monotonous data entry, he's not able to serve another person. He could be out there serving another person doing what he's absolutely great at. So when I think of ruthless efficiency, I think of everything is on the chopping block. Everything must be oriented to do what we really are great at. So we will, you know, I'll go learn how to code and write an app that can do that, or we'll find a different piece of software, or we'll bring in somebody else who can do that in 20 minutes instead of whatever it is. We find a solution to that, and we, you know, but it's all driven by what we really care about, and that's serving somebody.
Yeah, like protecting each other's time and strengths and weaknesses. So, I mean, what is efficiency? Efficiency is lack of friction. What is the friction? It's like the things that make me less good at something than him. Okay, well then me doing it is friction. That's efficiency. So like, I don't care that I'm the owner. I'm going to have my project manager do this high value task, and my pride gets set under the table. So like the ruthless part is nobody's feelings are hurt. And like my project manager came to me and he goes, like, I'm going to take that from your plate. And I, of course, like in my head, I'm like, duh, sweet. Thanks so much. Like I'd love to give you a hug. Thanks. Appreciate it. And he's thinking, oh, I've never worked for a company where that wasn't stepping on people's toes. And I'm like,
right?
Stepping on my toes? You just took a weight off my back. What are you talking? And he's like, no, sometimes that's, and so.
Yeah. And he gets to go do what he cares about, which is go talk to the homeowner or the subcontractor about what's going on and make things work really well.
Yeah.
That's a big job, and you can't be bogged down by, I mean, he really feels empowered to do that.
For sure.
So that's what we want to do.
Nice. One of the other things that I love too is your kind of transparency and scheduling. Kind of dovetails in there. So you're working with clients. Maybe kind of talk us through how you guys manage that that aspect of your process.
Yeah, so I mean that's a big thing. It's especially in our remodel schedules. I mean, they change all the time. So we work very hard on that. But we do have a a digital schedule that's available. You can go on website and access in real time, and it's updated, and you can kind of look ahead and see what's going to happen. And that's something the project manager is one of his biggest responsibilities is managing that. We've done it other ways, and it's like things just go poorly when you don't have that super organized.
Yeah.
And then so they can see that they can see the progress, right? I think that was one thing you touched on kind of in passing, correct? They're able to see, they have transparency in really everything, that's going on in the job, right? Where things are and all of those.
Everybody always wants to know what's next.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily always want to know the next 10 steps or what just happened, because they already know that. They don't know what's next. So that's really, I think that's our main goal in having that. It's not to be absolutely perfect and everything's going to happen exactly this way. This is kind of the order. This is what's next. This is where we're at. And that goes a long way to, that's another one of our core values is communication. So it's not just having endless texts and calls and emails. It's how can we make the information, how can we answer your question before you ask it? How can we give you a better way without having to text or call somebody? How can we just get that to you directly? That's what the schedule can do.
Nice. Love it. Okay, great. Well, I know one of the big topics today is kind of your experience with your larger job. So the Austin project. So we'd love to have you guys kind of talk us through that. So really love if we could start with kind of the story behind the big project. This is a little over $500,000 whole home remodel, correct? This is so it's a pretty comprehensive project. So maybe kind of give us the background on that, and then I'll have some questions to kind of dig in. But maybe let's start with the overview if we can.
Yeah, where do we start with that?
Well, it's a really cool company called Design Build Marketing.
Oh,
did
yeah.
some work for us.
Heard of them.
I mean, that was.
Oh, that's right. That was a lead that did come from the marketing efforts. Okay, great. That's
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the. That's like. It's not unrelated that our best and biggest have come from, our best in effort in marketing, I guess.
good.
So that
Good.
to me, the Austin job is, which that's their last name. It's also my first name. So it's not lost on me. It's a total joke, but also not at the same time. But yeah, I think it's a fun example of like a proof of concept for all parties. I mean, it's a proof of concept for us because it's our largest scale of our model, which we've forged in, blood, sweat, and tears, right? So it's like it's a big sigh of relief and kind of a victory. Like you put your flag on, an even higher mountain kind of thing. And same for marketing. Like, okay, we can talk to these people. We can serve this market demographic, whatever. So, I mean, it was a breakthrough, fundamentally, right?
Yeah. So what was that job the very first time you talked to them? Like,
It was
go
a
through
bathroom,
that. So
yeah.
what did it start as,
Yeah.
and then what is it now?
Oh, I mean, that's a funny thing. I think that's probably another testament to when you truly serve people, you can do salesman-y activities like upselling without being salesy and upselling them. So when I come to them and I ask them more and more questions, it was like, what's going on? Like, what have you done? Like, oh, what else, okay, so what's your solution for this? And okay, what are you thinking about? Well, yeah, I mean, we'd love to do that too, and I'm like, but what? Like, what? Why are there so many buts in our way? Just tell me. And so I just find out, like, okay, what is that? Why has this been? Well, we had a contractor. I'm like, okay. It's like, oh, well, it would, this is what happened. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see why you're limiting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's funny because in this case, it was really fun for me because I just served them and asked them and figure things out. And just honestly, sounds weird, but I kind of love them through some of their pain and like working through what's going on with these, I don't want to call them traumas, but bad experiences, right? Mm-hmm. And through that built an insane amount of trust and rapport without trying to build trust and rapport. You know what I mean? It's like you do these things naturally. And I think I was curious enough to find out answers I didn't like. I'm okay with doing that same approach and then it not being in my favor. Like the people don't even work with us. So I think just not having that dog behind you trying to tell you to sell it is really the key. But anyways.
Yeah, do you remember what that came in as? Like what?
Oh yeah, it was a bathroom remodel because of a flood.
Okay.
Like, so they had a flood. Okay, backstory. We don't do insurance work. It's kind of a red flag for us when people are like, damage repair. I'm like, nope. Like, we just don't it's such a specialized skill doing remediation and, renovation. This is like elective retail remodeling.
Free tip for anybody. If you have insurance work, find somebody specialized in that.
Yes. Yeah, if you have
big tip. Yeah, that's a good point for any
where did
homeowners out there.
What's the scope of the job now? So it came in as a bathroom remodel for some insurance
A
work.
flood, yeah.
Yeah, flood. What is it now? Like
now it's just like paid out of pocket doing the entire home. And we're doing full interior design, custom built-ins, fireplace, removing walls, sliders, windows, pocket doors, skylights, doing a whole roof. It's like,
which is probably all stuff that they already wanted to do before meeting you. They just had no solution for that.
100%.
And even after meeting you, didn't immediately know that you would be a solution to that.
Yeah. No,
so you had to
the
dig
first
it out.
quote I gave them was half of what we now have the contract for.
Yeah.
So it's weird how when you serve people, the scope creep is not gross. And it's not, I'm not upselling them and they're not change ordering me to death, right? If you really truly serve and you build that foundation of the relationship, then it's like, oh, cool, you also want to do this thing? And I'm like, let me talk to my guys. Absolutely. Like, we can fit that in, and then it's just this nice, like, boom, boom. We're just serving each other.
Much more comfortable exchange, right? Yeah.
Comfortable. Perfect word. Yeah.
Nice. That's good to hear. I know you guys have been excited about the project, and this is going to be their forever home, right? I mean, they're redoing everything, and they're going to be here for indefinitely. It sounds like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe any kind of key lessons that you've learned in the process here. So whether that's big jobs, I know you kind of talked about. This was kind of like a way to test your process, right, at scale. That was something that was kind of unique to hear you guys talk about. But anything else that you guys learned in the process that might be valuable for other builders out there or homeowners?
Yeah, not being afraid to basically just lose money. And by lose money, I mean pump the brakes on a project and just all of a sudden it takes more time. I think in the back of everybody's mind, everybody just wants to get it done. And I think we were laughing because we were making our core values just the other day, or like going over them, and I realized that the core values were the antidote to the just get it done mentality. And so far, this job has been the biggest testament to don't just get things done. You need to trust the process and relax and like do it right and take the time. And in this case, like one of the things that we had was not only did the scope balloon to double the size of what we originally talked about, then the amount of design and pre-construction ballooned as well. And I realized more and more the more I went through the process of design with them, it was like, I need the cavalry. Like there's just so many things in their head and their expectations are so undefined that they need a lot of help fleshing those things out. And so kind of called in the big guns and brought in like, an actual design consultant to really do a lot of that stuff with them. And it's been a game changer for them and more painful for us because it makes it take longer. but I can tell that was the move for sure.
But it's also going to make the rest of the project go so much better for everybody.
Right.
So we everybody wins. It just takes us a few minutes to get there.
The old saying, right? The old saying, a stitch in time saves, what is it, saves nine? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
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 Putting the time in up front helps things go more smoothly downstream.
Yeah.
So got it. And so you had a designer come in, they appreciated that. How was that received? I mean, that was unexpected. It wasn't planned, right? I mean, that was something that was done after the project or conversation started, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like what I could say to help other builders approach it this way, but I mean, just building that foundational relationship makes hard pivots like that a lot easier, because we kind of like when you're married and you choose to forgive your wife before she even, frustrates you or whatever. Like, we've chosen to eat these inconveniences before they happen, and we've chosen to serve them above all else, and like, so then it doesn't surprise us, and we're not freaking out, and it's not like a, oh no, it's like a, like, yeah, absolutely, like, of course, there's no question, we're not talking about this, like,
Is it better?
Right.
Then yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it was hard, yeah, for sure. But
Again, it was guiding. It was not selling.
Yeah.
It was this will make your experience better, the process better, and they listened, right? So
oh yeah, they loved it.
you
I mean, they went from, they were just waffling and they were so anxious because in our conversations they had nothing to like grab onto, they just felt like they were kind of in space, and having those boundaries of design, because like in my head I can tell what the project won't be, but in their mind everything is a possibility. Every little Facebook ad and every Pinterest board is what they could have. So it's like, design is not developing what the project is. You're actually just saying increasingly in more definition what isn't the project. So I mean, that's been a very comforting thing to them, and approaching it that way helps a lot, because when you're trying to design, you're not trying to like paint a beautiful picture out of nothing. You're trying to like say, we're only going to do this, and then all other possibility. Project management, they're not trying to tell you, like, they already have the plan, like the project's already done on paper, no big deal. So what's their job? It's like, make sure that everything else doesn't happen. Make sure that this is the only thing that happens. Like, that's extremely ridiculously hard, because you have reality against you. It's like, oh, and all other humans, like, oh, it's you against the world. Your little plan of man, like, we know how those go, right?
Yeah, well, usually in that situation, they have to make sure everything else doesn't happen, but
Yeah.
what is supposed to happen isn't actually all that defined. So it's a nearly impossible task, and nobody should wonder why that goes poorly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the other things you guys touched on earlier is, this was kind of a proof of concept, or I should say a test or validation of all of the work that you've put into the process in smaller jobs, right? So maybe talk us through that. How did that play out?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like paving a road. I mean, I think that there's a lot of people who, clients are flexible. Maybe the job is small, so you don't really need that robust of a system to get by. We talk about how our approach to remodeling and having a construction company is that of bringing concepts that are already existing and are kind of like required, and you don't get away with not doing certain things like automation, good lead tracking, like lots of advertising, having a service mindset, having good customer service, investing a lot in project management and communication. So like this was one of those where doing the hard work and building the robust, ruthlessly efficient, like loving, serving type of model, it's really expensive and it doesn't really work that good at a really small level. And we kind of have been trusting that all of us not getting paid basically as builders and owners, like spending all this time developing and paving this really robust, like silky smooth road when you don't really need it because everybody's in a 4x4 truck. So you can just keep putting dirt roads for $5 and it's no big deal. And we're like, no, we want to pave this racetrack, right? And it's like, well, there's only a couple, race cars aren't as common. They go to the racetrack. It's like, no, I want a highway that connects all the racetracks together. And people are like, I don't know if it's worth it to really spend all that time doing, really good systems and ruthlessly efficient, processes at a residential remodeling level. Like
A small
for those
bathroom.
commercial guys that have $1 million budgets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, two guys with an idea, it costs us a lot more to do enterprise level activities. And so this job was a perfect example of it was worth it because now it was not only, I would say it's almost easier to do things at a higher scale with our model because you're allowed to put the proper time and effort into the certain things. So it's like, when you see a semi truck going on your highway, it makes sense. And you're like, oh, I'm glad I spent an extra day on that bump delete project. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like makes you feel better for sure.
Good. Yeah, that's it was good to hear you say that, right? It doesn't always, and that's what I feel like, when we see remodelers at small scale and they just kind of fly by the seat of their pants, right? And they're like, well, why would I worry about a process right now? It's just a little.
Yeah.
And so, that's what gets them in trouble. I think, again, I'm not a builder, so I should be very careful about how I describe that. But again, that's, from a layman's perspective, that's what I hear from a lot of our clients.
I think it's because they can get away with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've been there. Like we've done all of those things. all of the things that we're talking about doing right, we've done wrong many more times and have learned. Like all of those semi trucks you talk about on the bumps. We know the value of that because we know. We've experienced all of those crashes.
Yeah.
Nice. You don't learn by just doing, or you don't learn by and get it right immediately, right? You try, you improve, and you get better. So, well, good. It was good to hear
not to do things.
Well, it's good to hear that all of your processes came together and served you well in this transaction. So, so that kind of covers. I guess any challenges that you had in the job. We've talked about kind of the highlights. Anything that came up that was challenging, or you did say it was kind of an easier project than some others.
Yeah, the hardest part for me was like trusting the process. Like it was the perfect temptation to betray our model and our commitments, right? Because it's like everything, like it's big, dry, easy, you could just take.
Yeah.
So having open serving hands, not the taking, pulling hands, was really a test of, well, how much do you guys really believe this crap?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, hearing their past experiences, they got convinced by other, what I consider to be extraction-minded companies, and they still got the job and they still got the money and they're gone and they got it done already. So the opportunity, you could tell that these people were just kind and agreeable, right? So I think that was the hard part, was when you're desperate and you have the opportunity to betray your integrity, sticking to your guns and eating that,
Back to the values are the anecdote, right?
For sure.
So, I love that. Right? These are going to guide me into processes and making decisions that are going to, be the ideal service model for our clients, right? And avoid the types of builder that we don't want to be.
Yeah.
Because we're all susceptible. Like every single person, that's what that's for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. We can transition to, I guess, your vision for the future. I know you have big plans. You have had some great success together. This project kind of being one of the culminations, but maybe talk us through what the future holds for Thornapple Construction.
Yeah, I'll hit it. Well, 2025, we want to do 6 million in revenue and purchase another company in our market or outside of our geography, but doing the same thing we do. In 2026, we want to do 10 of those, and shortly after that, I want to be nationwide. We want to change the way that remodeling works in the country.
Nice. I love it.
Just that.
Yeah, just that. I mean, that's the other thing. One of the things I love about you guys, you kind of dropped that on me, and I wasn't even aware that those were in the plans, right? Or those plans were in the works, I should say. So, yeah, very cool. Very cool to see you guys kind of have that bigger picture approach. So, okay, one other thing, maybe what advice would you give to other builders? We touched on that a little bit during the conversation, but anything else that we missed that might be important to kind of share, either with this or just general experience that you guys have picked up that you think a lot of people don't put into their process?
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
Eat all of the crap sandwiches. It's not fun. Like, embracing the suck of, like, that's what we're like. Why are we valuable? Why do clients give us money? Because we're doing something difficult for them that they now don't have to do. So it's a service industry, but I mean, most transactions in any economy really is that. It's exchanging labor.
Value.
So if you're trying to take and not give, you're going to just do enough song and dance to get the job done and get paid. And if you live to get paid and you live to get it done, I promise you're going to fizzle, run out, get upset. It's not going to build you up. It's not going to propel you forward. It's not going to get you through the suck. It's going to make you want to cut all the corners and lessen the blow, and like, oh well, this could be a little bit less expensive if we just put in cheaper windows, and we'll save that because we lost our butt on the other job because we took too much risk or whatever. And it's like, I think we all kind of know like what we should be doing. But we're like, oh, I just, last month was bad, or I really want to take this vacation or whatever. And it's like, probably just, but I mean, we didn't take a vacation for the first 5 years either, like maybe 1 or 2 total.
Yeah.
I mean, it was it was horrible, and it was worth it. Like, it was totally worth it. It sucked so much. My wife even thinks that it's worth it now, which is huge. Like, it was tough. I don't know. I mean, if you really want to do something real, like, it's supposed to be the worst. So if it feels horrible, it's probably because you're lifting weights. You know what I mean? And that's what you need. You want to do that, I guess. Better. Yeah.
Sign you're on the right path. Challenges don't always mean that you're doing something wrong, right? Sometimes that's just what you're doing to provide value. Sometimes isn't comfortable or easy, right? Yeah.
I mean, our core values might just be the best set of advice I could give a builder, honestly. Like, if you want to just not hate your life and your company, and like these being the antidote to the wrong mentality and the things that don't just call out to you, like it's basically, our core values are like the things that are not immediately obvious that require you in your job. Like, doing the project well, quality control, cool. Everyone knows that's on the list. Communicating, duh, but what kind of communication? Like, are you going to overinvest in that, or are you going to leave that as like only the as needed communication to keep our company lean? And we don't want to charge people too much, just spend too much time with one client. We have lots of clients we have to get to. It's like, no. If you don't have that 3-hour meeting, like, you're going to have 300 more 20-minute meetings. But have one 3-hour meeting, and then you're like, okay, now you're not going to ever talk about this again, and neither am I, because we've made a complete decision. Like you said earlier, helping people make a decision, that's super expensive, and you don't really want to do it when it comes down to it. And when you're given those opportunities, it's not obvious that it's valuable in the moment. It usually just comes as, here is going to cost you, and it's not going to be fun. What's the other part of it? That's it. It's just going to cost you, and it's just not going to be fun. And you're like, so why am I doing this? And like, that's all of our core values. Like, why would you do this? Why would you do this? Why? Because. That's why. Because.
Decisions become easier and easier though with those guiding principles, right? I mean, that's what makes, I mean, otherwise the decisions aren't, confusing. Do I make this decision this time and something else the next time? I mean, when the values and when your kind of guiding principles are laid out there, it makes those things easier to get through, right?
Yeah, and it empowers the right people to just make those decisions. Like we don't every decision doesn't have to come through us. Our project manager can, and I want him to make his own decisions because he agrees with these. He shares these values. He's able to make decisions, even if it's not what I would. If he doesn't make the same decision I would make, great. It's probably better.
Yeah.
And having the humility in making your own core values and actually sticking to those, like that's what are they for? They're not like, we do great work and we always don't lie. And it's like, duh, of course. But like when it comes to calling out the specific white lies that are common in the industry of half truths to the client about why there's a delay, like, oh, that's what you're talking about. Oh, that's a core. Oh, we all have to. Oh, no. I thought we could, just get by and not lose the rapport with the client. No. That's an opportunity to say, hey, we messed up. And here's exactly what happened. And we're so sorry. And also, here's what we're going to do about it. What do you think? Do you want to change our approach to solving our own problem that we've created? Like, and people love that. They're like, absolutely. I'll help you, the builder, solve the problem you created. And now they're somehow more trusting of us, even though we're, idiots. It's like, well, yeah, we're all winging it. Like everyone is rolling with the punches and trying to figure things out. Like that's what everyone's doing in their job, including the homeowner. Yeah. But yeah, the humility of that process and being willing to sign up for something that's bigger than you. Like our core values kind of make me look bad sometimes. And that's good. Like it's supposed to be the boundaries for us. Like you don't make core values to show how great you are. You make core values to make sure you don't get bad. Right? And that's the hard part.
And if you could just say that you were always doing it perfectly, that would be great, right? But it's a reminder. If nothing else, it's a reminder to get back on track. I mean, again, guiding principles, right?
Yeah.
So,
cool.
So maybe let's take a step back. I'd love to maybe have summarize the key points. I mean, maybe the top 3 things that we've talked about here, because we've talked about a lot. These conversations are great. They get a little windy sometimes, though. So maybe let's kind of take a step back and summarize maybe the key things that you think are critical to communicate about your process. And again, speaking to either builders or the homeowner, both of them I think would be valuable.
Yeah. You've got, I see some notes over here. That looks pretty good to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like the courage part of understanding that it is a journey, not of perfection, but of like willingness to be available and be people don't want a builder to come in and be perfect. People want a builder to come in and collaborate. What does that even mean? Like, and builders forget that they're doing this project with the client. Like, it's not the builder doing a project and then it has to be whatever the project that the client said, and then it has to be the same thing they said, and then but it's my project, and then the client's like, no, it's my project that the builder's doing for me. It's like, no, it's our project, and the reason why it's ours is because it's not going to be perfectly defined from the beginning. So I think the fallacy of the builder's going to show up and do everything perfectly, and also the fallacy on the other end of the client's going to know what the heck they even want, and they're going to like tell me along the way, and that's going to go well, and they're going to trust me and not question me, and everything's going to go right. Yeah, go ahead.
So being a guide, right? I think that's one of the things that you've kind of woven in there. So that's a big one, right? I mean, in marketing, we find that it's very common that companies want to make themselves the hero, because we all want to provide for our clients and we think that needs to be the hero, but ultimately they are the hero, right?
Yeah.
We are the guides, right? You guys are guiding them on their journey to the home that they want, right? So, so I think that guide type of principle is key. I think that's a good one.
Yeah, like a
What
guided
other
path
what
kind
other
of
kind
thing.
of underlying themes were there that you guys
Talking about Lowe's.
Yeah. Okay, so I did hit the honesty in imperfection. I think that's kind of like what people think it's a negative thing to be imperfect, like builders, and they avoid even accepting in their own mind that they did something wrong. Like they'll just justify it because it makes them feel better. But if you're actively looking for opportunities to improve, then your own imperfections are actually what you wanted to find. And so when someone brings that to you, it doesn't come as an offense. It comes as a, oh, like I genuinely am appreciative that you brought this to my attention, not because I'm saying that little platitude, but because I've been looking for ways I can figure this out. I hate how I've been and I don't know how else I can be. So cool. Appreciate it. Now I can do this to 100 more clients better, and I can save myself time and money, and I've now improved my product. And it's like every client is data, and it's not that everybody's like a test subject, but it's that we care enough to iterate and not just give them whatever we have and pretend that all the parties are just supposed to accept it as this is what we get. You know, it's not like you get what you get. I think it's more of that, being available to be malleable and be part of a process rather than a product.
Got
And
it.
then, because this industry is different, it's not a cookie cutter assembly line. Some industries, you want that gun to be manufactured the same way every single time. Every gun needs to be the exact same if it's of this model, right?
The goal is precision, right?
Right.
And exact fine tuning, and that's not what
Yeah.
that's not the space we live in, right?
Right.
Yeah, that taking feedback and improving. So I think that kind of underlies your process comment from earlier too, right? So, maybe the second one is really that process, being open to feedback and listening, and really kind of continuing to refine based on what you guys see throughout the process. Okay. Any others that you've got down? You've got a good page of notes, but that might run the course.
Yeah. I love it.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, would love to have you guys kind of share where you are online. Where can people find you if they're searching? It's not hard these days, but I'd love to have you call it out just to be clear.
Yeah, thornappleconstruction.com, Facebook, Instagram. I'm probably the worst person in the world to answer this.
Well, you're about to be the best soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the places.
Yep. Thornapple
Nice.
Construction.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Well, for any builders out there, hopefully you learned some good things to bring into your process, some tips and tricks. For homeowners out there, hopefully you picked up some good things to make sure that you're considering and doing as you work with a builder for any remodels. If you're in the Grand Rapids area, I definitely recommend reaching out to Thornapple. Nate and Austin will take great care of you. Guys, thanks again for coming on and joining us today. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you,
pleasure.
Jake.
All right. Thanks, guys.